Howdy, my name is Gabriella, and I will be doing CRE number 6, Prompt 2, The War on Drugs. To start out, I will lay out my positionality. I am a 19-year-old female who attends Texas A&M University. And relating to this topic, I have had a family member, a distant family member, who throughout many, many years has been placed in the prison system because of possession of drugs. I am for the decriminalization of drugs because it is my belief that if he hadn't been arrested and was able to seek rehab help as mandated, if it was mandated that he seek rehab instead of going to prison, that I think he would have become sober a lot sooner than he did. He is now in his mid-40s and is sober in recent years, but it hasn't been until recent years. So that leads to the first question. What do you consider to be the most severe consequence of the war on drugs and why? I believe the most severe consequence of the war on drugs is the increased incarceration rates. As seen in course media, how even a casual brush with the law can permanently mar a young man's life, it is said that more than 60% of formerly incarcerated individuals remain unemployed 1 year after being released. Being incarcerated has a huge impact on an individual's livelihood, potentially leading them to reoffend and turn to drugs again. It doesn't help anyone, and it's just a vicious cycle. Which leads me to my second question. What do you believe to be the best solution to fix the mass incarceration associated with drugs? I think the best solution would be the decriminalization of all drugs and instead treat addiction as the medical condition it is and not a crime, as was stated in Lecture 24, The War on Drugs. From Lecture 23, we saw that the war on drugs, started by Nixon, is a failed policy. It really only achieved putting a mass amount of minority individuals behind bars, which has led to a lot of misrepresentation of minorities and the stereotype of people of color being criminals as seen in Lecture 22. Decriminalizing all drugs will remove the disparity between Black individuals being arrested and convicted of crack possession and white individuals being arrested and convicted of possession of cocaine. It really has been a racial disparity, and you can't help but wonder if race has something to do with it. Which leads me to the third question. What obstacles stand in the way of fixing this issue? I believe legal and systemic racial issues have prevented the fixing of mass incarceration. Mass incarceration is a costly business for us taxpayers, but a very lucrative business for private corporations, which give incentive to keep locking people up, according to the nation. And these private corporations can also feed into politicians' campaign funds. So it makes you wonder if mass incarceration has been a way to keep the same types of people in power. In Course Media, Mass Incarceration by James Kilgore, mass incarceration is highlighted as being a new system of racial oppression akin to slavery. This system started out as a means to reoppress freed slaves for free labor, and many current-day prisons in the former Jim Crow South were once plantations. Not only that, but once an individual, usually a minority of lower socioeconomic status, is found tangled up in the law, the easiest thing for them to do is to plead guilty, as seen in Course Media by Vox and ProPublica. Without money and access to a good lawyer, many are forced to subjugate themselves to the prison system, even if they are innocent. Legal and racial issues have plagued this topic for decades. By decriminalizing drugs and requiring rehab instead, we may help a lot of individuals struggling and ultimately saving them from more potentially mental trauma that often accompanies going to prison, as seen in Course Media, What Happens to People in Solitary Confinement. By decriminalizing drugs and treating addiction as the medical condition that it is, we have the potential to save a lot of people's lives and prevent them from wasting away in prisons all over the country, which also saves us taxpayers a lot of money. So thank you for listening to me today, and have a good one.